afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, another wondrous Propagandacast. I'm your host, Imperial Dame. We're off here to a 1 versus 1 on Minsk Pocket. We shall be watching here in the northern half USA, aka OMG Pop, fighting for the Oberkommando West, fighting for Germany. It's the Reich Deutschland taking on the fight here for the Panzerdivision versus Kyoma, here fighting for the United States, holding up things under command of the 2nd Infantry Division, and immediately choosing infantry as his commander. OMG Pop immediately on that going Luftwaffe, so both players are going for extremely early commander choices, both having some kind of strategy already in mind involving those. Raven here on the way, Volkskriegs by the looks of it, already on the way for USA. What was the next unit? Looks like he's not going for additional Volkskriegs to head off. Could be another Sturm Pioneer unit then. Both sides heading sort of aggressively towards the centre. Truck blasting as well, or the SVS supply half track here moving forwards. You know, Dieter, I think we might have driven the wrong way. Nein. I'll just keep driving. Eventually we'll find the way. Bit of barbed wire here to sort of deny cover. Half track continues to moving on here. Otherwise all quiet, further right. No, he's actually not going for well, actually there's a bit of time before we can get that. Going for the few there. Further down the way, looks like they are finally driving the other way. You know, on second thought, let's go back. I don't like this. But so far heading towards a bit aggressive towards both sides. We do note here that USA, rather misaptly named here, is heading towards the western side of the map, thus focusing up things a bit more, whereas Kyoma here sort of more aggressively spreading across the map more evenly and grabbing more territory that way. Third round's gone on the way. Truck in fact pulling back here. He could set up for either a battle group headquarters or a mechanized regiment headquarters. No engagement so far. There we go. Mechanized regiment headquarters right in the middle of everything. That perhaps is not the wisest position. There we go. Quickly retreating here. Realizes he's getting caught between two sides there. Nicely executed there by the Oberkommando West. Nicely executed. Also nicely spotted what's going on then. A good retreat there. Good tactical sense. Left side therefore has to be abandoned. And we're noting here that USA is then sort of further folding up with further units here. 2 Sturm Pioneer squads working close cooperation. That could be quite nasty there if handled the correct manner. And meanwhile, though, we are noting here the Americans are getting most of that. We're noting here and a lieutenant. Not unusual to see the lieutenant after the 3rd rifleman scored. Pretty standard stuff. Going straight here for the fuel, very aggressive play, though he might want to keep them supported because there's bound to be an aggressive counterattack going in here from the Germans. And of course, I think as many riflemen are able to lay down further fire, in particular versus any Sturm Pioneer squads, which are likely to be inbound. But there you go, large force wing, and there you go, he waited the time, bit it, and sort of went in there on the assault from so angles trying to sort of overwhelm Kyoma here, and there you go, troops heading from several sides. Sturm Pioneers taking some damage, though he might be able to enter neutral there. A small victory for the Americans, but they need to get off the field right now. There we go. Vast mass of Germans, vast mass of bullets. They also get 2 Sturm Pioneers again to render the fuel on their neutral. That will give the Americans a bit more to work with. Lieutenant also moving up. And we're immediately holding it as soon as possible. He is getting MG-34s out. So rather light but somewhat heavily armed infantry complement for the Germans right off the bat here. The Panzerdivision. Riflemen firing away here. Getting off a few decent kills. More riflemen moving up. The lieutenant should also be near behind and actually be able to sort of really lay down some firepower there on the Germans. Volkskriegs leading the way here, ensuring basically they get shot and save the Sturm Pioneers, allowing the Sturm Pioneers a better chance of closing in. Not a bad tactical move there by him if that was intentional. It could have just been intentional. MG-34, in fact he's getting several MG-34s, in fact he's getting 3 MG-34s. A very interesting opening there. Going there for the control point there, rather than enforced, so this squad needs to be treated quickly reinforced. And there we go. The force hit, quickly stopped by an MG-34. Lieutenant moves in, but quickly stop. Press here. Very unfortunate, otherwise he probably could have gotten the drop here on the units. But no, he's still fighting the BR submachine gun rifle moving from another side. And Storm Bunnies are getting shredded up close. Yeah, suppression bonus is not enough to save them. There we go. Lost the Storm Pine unit early on, and that's actually going to hurt the Germans quite a bit here. But there you go, several MG-34 setting up here, laying down a wall of bullets for the Germans. Running advantage into another MG-34. Troops pinned down. In fact, he's stopping almost all of the infantry while sneak up to force on the right flank, although quick rifle and counter-attack force could push me. Going for an AA half-track. Interesting also him munitions are being traded for fuel. But interesting note, getting the AA half-track, of course, to lay down some heavy fire of his own. Versus the infantry, although could go for a scout cutter, so quicker get out and maybe lay down some anti-tank mines in the same process. But there you go, rifle defensive structures, more top track as well. That would have focused on also allowed to lay down anti-tank mines of a lighter quality, though still maybe to be able to hit the opponent. But there we go, he's going straight for the fuel pump. We're noting here several MD-34 setting up to cover a lot of the approaches. That's definitely going to make a counter-attack here by Kyoma and the Americans. Rather difficult, at least initially. But grenades drop. That, on the other hand, is going to open up for smoke grenades, which might give them a bit of time. But he's rather quick to sort of pull units back before reinforcing them. Well, having them fully reinforced anyways. But there we go. The assault is in. Smoke grenades being popped off.
Half-track, ready for action.
Good job there, by the way, using the ability. One assault angle, there we go, getting up behind that, and there we go, that's going to force him to pull back one in before he's got several. More smoke grenades slightly going off. In this case, it seems to have been a bit of a dot there. But there you go, a Puma out. He's already worried about, of course, enemy vehicles and getting a Puma out early here. Speer up, punches Speerwagen, tearing into the Amerikaner, though not very effectively, despite the proximity so far. No troops here with anti-tank rifle grenades, by the way, which could maybe have caught it there as it stood still, making things a bit easier for, say, the AA half-track. He's moving up. Need to be a bit careful there, though, with the Puma. Medic ambulance on the way. One option is to actually go for a bazooka upgrade, and they upgrade some of the re-echelon troops with them to sort of form an anti-tank team. But it seems like that is not within his prerogative, even though it's moving up on the left flank. MG-40 forming a very bullet-heavy front. Looks like the Puma's getting off a few kills there. For Deutschland.
The capture point is being overrun.
We're going straight for the fuel pond there and parking everything down on it. Panzer rigs up as well. That's definitely going to make it a bit harder for Kyoma to move any vehicles in to dislodge him. Looks like he's going to try and shift around this, catch him from some angles. Good job there, good thinking. Going straight for the victory point over there, Walt's taking the one there. Good job. That's definitely going to force them to spread out a bit instead of being able to sort of just hold down one part of the map easily. So some sharper thinking going on there from Kyoma. Good to see, good to see. If one approach is difficult, you know, try to find a way around and attack your opponent from there. Also like some Storm Punish being achieved there. Fallschirmjäger also arriving to support the Panzerlehrdivision. With the FG-42s. Half-track supporting there. And he's still somehow managed to get most of the map, though he will still be a bit behind in fuel, although at the same time, due to the fuel penalties, of course, he'll come on the west surface, he might still even then be close to be able to follow up with it, and to actually be able to keep it equal. Of course, that's a little, again, another fun fact. And there we go. All of a sudden, barely a little difference there. Puma moving up. On his own, he won't be able to do much. Though certainly said it's helpful to dealing with the Americans, not the Russians, in which case anti-tank grenades could much easily disable this Puma. There they go, charging through. Attacking from some angles, smoke rifle grenades going off. And there you go, suppressing units. A grenade could go off here somewhere, that might be good. Not for the Germans, of course. Puma there coming down, MG-34 coming in approach as well. FG-42 wielding Fallschirmjäger moving in as well. A half-track setting up, troops need to fall back. Interesting enough, there's no attempt at a grenade here on the MT-34 crew. And once more we are seeing that Kyoma is being sent running. And there you go, MG34 getting plastered with a variety of bullets of different calibers. Over to the Germans though. A bit shorter on infantry at the moment. They're not short on machine guns. Far from it. Also noting here, a battle group headquarters has been set up, probably to allow him healing of his troops, amongst other things, maybe also open up for something else in the longer term. Of course, an infantry ships could also help troops here being a bit held back. Germans here setting up for a nice solid defense. Certainly having positioned himself quite strongly, and it's actually going to be difficult for Kyoma to force him off. Then again, with the smoke grenades, amongst other things, he is going to have a chance, though. It would certainly help if he had some bazookas to sort of pressure away the Puma. Not so much because it's going to be a massive threat to the infantry, to a certain extent it's a light one, but mostly to sort of open up way here for the A half to then plus the rest of the units with heavy caliber fire and tear them apart. Second Puma here arriving. That should give him some kind of anti-tank defense and armor harassment capability. And there we go. Browning light machine guns being handy here to Kyoma's troops. He's going to be able to lay down some very heavy firepower now. Also noting, 3 echelon troops were exchanged here with the vehicle crews. Will be a bit more effective up close thanks to their grease guns. An American attempt at sort of making a much more easy to produce submachine gun, or the Thompson submachine gun wasn't hard to produce. There was also sort of an attempt to sort of copy the MP40. Though note, it actually used a larger caliber bullet than the MP40. There we go, it's sort of attacking up. He probably should have pushed up more here. Now it's also being up their flank, though that's going to be a slightly more painful endeavour. Note, by over here, both slots here have been taken up by the brown light machine guns. You can actually get a lot of fire, though, of course, the MG34 will suppress them. Smoke grenade up as well. And there you go, the Puma charges in. He could try and get off an anti-tank rifle, but then it gets already too close. And right here, bazooka would have been helpful, so sort of forced the Pumas to be a bit more careful. But A half coming up here, firing right. They need to be careful with the punch attacks. That makes me get some of the MG gunners. Troops there heading in defensive posture. Pumas moving in. A half to get away. No way of stopping it. No way of keeping them at bay. It's a bit of a mistake here by Kyoma. To a certain extent, he lacks something to deal with them. Oh dear, the vehicle crew's getting caught out in the middle, everything getting slaughtered. The armored half check is trying to get away, but the Pumas have surrounded it. Like a pair of wolves, doing a bit of damage here though. It probably would have been better if you just hadn't retreated in the first, but just kept plastering away. Maybe you'll use that better position. But there we go, Captain up, but probably won't be able to keep things up. And no anti-tank rifle there again. There we go, the Pumas are falling back. The Captain is not pursuing. And we know here that Kyoma's attempted clearing up this position is rather going well. But no! He does manage to pull off something at the very least and actually cut off the other viewpoint there. So Kyoma still keeping up a very solid harassment game. Really keeping it difficult there for USA to basically just plunk his ass down there and do nothing. Second fighting moving unit here, Rami sort of trying to sort of take back territory through more aggressive means. The question is how long that's going to last. These Rami here forced away, but still cutting off the viewpoint. Well executed, and anti-tank guns here running to probably help deal with them. And also any heavy armor. So looking alright there. It looks like some Waffen are about to go to the great big burger joint beyond. And there we go. Oh, nasty hit there from the Puma. 2 vehicle crewmen down. 15mm rounded to the face. Airborne here. Oh, Captain here fighting versus the Fallschirmjäger. Captain Jack. So now the Browning equipped rifleman supporting. The Fallschirmjäger I fear will not be able to hold up long for that, despite best intentions. Very heavy fire, though reducing MG34 slightly moved up. He could switch out to incendiary armor, pitching around for more lethality. Anti-tank and covering things here. And getting a mortar after more smoke going down. I believe it just offers smoke as well, though of course the slightly more nastier white phosphorus smoke, which the Americans were quite fond of using, by the way. White phosphorus also having rather interesting properties when applied to a human. More specifically, it melts them. Very nasty stuff. But the Captain will certainly serve there as a bit more of a threat to the Pumas with his 2 bazookas. A bit more of an agile weapon. Again, the Puma can't really do much with bazooka troops. Of course, the MG34 initially will make it difficult for him to sort of rush in and try to knock it out that way. Lieutenant here getting close, trying to clear out that MG34. MG40 hitting these metrics too lovely. And there you go, forced away, forced away. Moving up here, anti-tank needs some help support. And there you go. No, never mind, never mind, never mind. There we go. Nice hit, nice hit. Can he get off another hit here? Close, close, another hit. Come on, gentlemen. Oh, too slow, slow. There, no anti-tank rifle grenade. Bit close there, bit close there. A bit of luck there. Those reports is rather counting on it and sort of getting away with it. I mean, you need to take chances for luck to apply, but either way. Doing some aggressive work there with his Pumas. And that might also keep Kyoma there on the bit on the back foot here. Troops falling back. He could consider, I believe, upgrading the lieutenant if he hasn't already. With Browning as well, further increasing their firepower. And getting another MG34. It's up to 4 MG34s. He's really playing sort of a delaying game, which could indicate that he might have some greater plans in mind. And basically it's a stalling game, which means he's aiming either for a Panther, might even aim for a King Tiger. Either way, he's aiming for something big, and he's basically relying on the MG34s and the Pumas, so basically to act as sort of a mobile reserve to sort of counterattack any defense. There's a very sort of, to a certain extent, actually German approach in defense. There is small outposts, in this case the MG34s, and then a mobile reserve to sort of strike wherever the attack might arrive. So in that regard, it's not a bad strategy per se. Though it's rather dependent on the fact that he hopes Kyoma doesn't get a lot of anti-tank weapons to sort of counter-check the Puma. The bazookas, maybe at least just a sufficient amount of them. Because that's basically going to put a stop to that. Fighter coming from the left flank. And there you go, lots of machine guns here again, forming another wall. Hitting defensive stands up, he's going to make it difficult for the fighter to approach, for that matter, any infantry to approach. The captain, though, needs to get away. He's basically down to one guy named Jim. And having to carry the bazooka himself. There you go. White phosphorus round going down. MG34 crew. Oh, getting hit there. Note also, white phosphorus is poisonous. So even if you don't get, melted by it, breathing it in is a pretty bad idea. Larger infantry force going up here, though again a bit light on the anti-vehicular stuff. And again, the Puma's largely not going to care about it. I mean, in that situation, the bazooka really would do him well. Oh, that anti-tank rifle grenade actually failed. So in this regard, actually, the Puma is reasonably strong. As long as Kyoma never gets a bazooka, the Puma can actually be sort of alright, though it's still going to be not very good versus infantry. Now again, had this been Russian infantry, the Puma could not have pulled that off. It's a very specific anti-American strategy so far, if you will. Or tactic, if you will. Troops reinforcing them, making good use of the ambulance, pushing back the forces. Anti-tank guns, now 2 of them falling back here. Also got option here for take aim, which can certainly make things a bit harder for the Pumas to move about, I would argue. More half-tech moving back as well. Another push forward. I mean, he's making really sort of aggressive use of the MG34s, basically leapfrogging and setting up large MG walls. I would almost, in fact, say he's got a full machine gun heavy platoon there. Might even be half a company's worth there. Right here, he's actually opening up for mortar, though the American mortar half-tech is maybe not so good. A 2-strike going in here. Aggressive attempt there. Bit too late there, Puma's fighting over here. Anti-tank guns need to maybe set up to sort of fire away. At least that would help him. But there you go, massive strike going in, shattering mostly dead trees. Shifting over there, anti-tank and fighting from here. He's not using take aim, I think. No, take aim is a reasonably powerful ability that allows him to see far and also shoot farther. So I mean, he's basically like focus sight or tracking for the Soviet anti-tank gun, except, better in a sense. In particular, since it's free. Of course, it can actually not see in some regards, but better still, overall. It's a very potent ability if used properly. Crew there going for the central victory point. Major upstage all moving on to the armour. Having set up a nice sort of position of anti-tank all here. Veterans, if free, that's actually pretty good. That's going to help Kyoma quite a bit, though this one needs to be sort of centred towards his front. We are now seeing here that once more the German player is being forced a bit back here. I mean, his strategy does hold very much reliance on the MG34s. 5? He's got 5 MG34s! Gott im Himmel. Apparently he's really aiming for that delay. And to a certain extent would certainly make artillery, if the mortar attack was just a bit better, a lot more valuable. Then again, a single Sherman could also cause him a lot of problems, particularly if he keeps it covered with the anti-tank guns. So if those high those rounds blast away at the MG crews and such, he could probably do it quite handily. Or for that matter, he could aim for an M8 Scott. But, time for the mid-game analysis here. We are seeing here that going from a strong position, sort of early game, the German plays a bit more on the back foot now. Things are looking a little less grand, though. I mean, he's still got a considerable force here, though. Still one of the most MG heavy forces I have ever seen. I mean, that is actually quite surprising. But so far, again, he's handling out well, because it does seem, again, like I'm saying, he's rather playing on a sort of outpost strategy in terms of defense. Again, the MGs essentially serving as the outpost. They are the front line. They are basically there to sort of hold back the opponent. And then he's got the reserve here in the form of the Pumas, the Fallschirmjägers, what little infantry has to sort of counterattack in case, you know, wherever he gets attacked. So the MG34s basically slow down the first wave, and then he counterattacks that wave and sort of tries to knock it back through different means, through flanking, whatever. So overall, in that sense, it's not a bad one as such, though at the same time its reserve forces are a bit light, and to a certain extent, the way they currently are, they can't really resist a sort of really strong strike from Kyoma. So if, say, any sort of heavy armor or the anti-tank guns were sufficiently laid down in ambush to actually hit the Pumas as they're counterattacking, if that identifies what's going on, I mean, that could hurt the German player quite a bit and actually suffer some grave losses there, so it is not exactly flawless. And he certainly seems like, I mean, he's got all 3 trucks here, so one idea could just keep playing at the current strength is aim for the Königstiger if that's it, or he could also go for a Panther, which could also help him quite a bit. A Sturmtiger could of course also be quite helpful in basically hammering his way through rather bluntly. Of course, an Obersoldaten or 2, or maybe some Infanteriegeschütz could also prove to be a good idea to sort of, you know, keep the pressure up on his opponent, to sort of put it lightly. As for Kyoma, he's got a lot of infantry. He's got not so many support units, so things are a bit in the inverse stage. Of course, he's got a bit of an offensive army. He's got lots of light machine guns, lots of firepower, and he's sort of trying to move his way forward, which is good. On the other hand, of course, he needs to be a bit careful around those Pumas, so to some extent he wants to stop them so he can operate more freely with his vehicles. And again, I do think he should consider upgrading for bazookas, and then have a few squads sort of supporting the rest of the infantry with bazookas, that way keeping the infantry or the enemy armoured vehicles away, and also pushing further up here the centre. He could also consider actually laying down some anti-tank mines to make it a bit difficult for the Pumas to also maneuver about, and that could also help. But right now I think you should aim for the Sherman, shift it to high explosive rounds, that way push forwards, keep it supported by the anti-tank guns all time, you know, basically ensuring if the Pumas get a bit too close, they get a doses of armor-piercing rounds straight to the face, forcing them away, or even getting them blown up. If you can take the fuel point here and sort of set up more solid defense, that could work out well. Then mine the approaches here, sort of limit the mobility of the Puma, and then set up basically his own sort of reserve strategy. I think that could work out quite well, because again, the essence of this is, once he's, you know, been pushed off, he's got very little to really counterattack with. So again, if you can sort of force that breakthrough somehow by either a nice flanking, for example, flanking up from here could really do quite well. So those are to a certain extent sort of the options for Kyoma. Though he should be careful about spreading out his forces too thinly, since again the Fallschirmjägers and likes could really quickly overwhelm any force. And for example, this here is a bit of a risky move. One rifleman squad on its own with very little support. It's basically only just the light machine gun to sort of rely on, and again, if he's attacked from the right angles, that could quickly be pushed off the field. So it is not without its risks the counter strategy sort of applying. But back to the fight here, and back to Kyoma.
Crowds are sniffing around our asses. Tactical
Regular barrels going off here. Centre assault going in here, lots of light machine gun fire here, catching the Fallschirmjägers. There you go, 3rd kill on the mortar half-track. Fallschirmjägers is getting absolutely massacred, by the way. And there you go, one rifle squad utterly pinned down already. Anti-tank guns firing. No use of take aim, except on this one, which is further away. And there you go, flanking with a unit, a bit bold here. He could pop off an anti-tank rocket grenade, but no, he's actually trying to sort of hit the units from behind. There we go, a solid assault here, taking advantage of this small flanking squad to perhaps take advantage of the chaos and madness. Rather than they're getting caught by the Storm Pioneers, but the Storm Pioneers are themselves low on health. Storm Pioneer unit down. If only the anti-tank could further up support with, you know, take aim, he could probably knock out the Pumas or something else right here. Close, but not quite, not quite. He needs a bit more. There you go. Anti-tank moves up on the field. A bit too slow, a bit too slow. Couldn't quite coordinate things fully then. If only the half-tank had been sort of maybe there to sort of lay down some smoke around the MGs there to sort of lighten up the left side. But now, of course, it's a bit too late. The Pumas are further forwards. And sadly, his anti-tank gun's not in position to force them back. He should have moved them a bit further, as previously suggested. Still, he's made good use of all the chaos in the centre to sort of sneak up some units on the flank. So it's not all lost, but again, can't help but feel he is maybe making things a bit too easy for the Germans right here. And there you go. Molotov taking heavy damage. Needs to fall back. Anti-tank and firing. And good use of take aim, but again, arc of fire though, on the other hand, could be better. But there you go, another armor car. And there you go, almost got it, almost got it.
Just got destroyed.
But he's able to drive around. Need to oh dear, allows it to get away there. And there you go, popping smoke. Another raid there by the Pumas, allowing him to get away safely. MG-34's creeping up further and further. The MG-34, by the way, is also the tank basically, or the MG for tanks, more specifically the hull and coaxial MGs, because their slower rate of fire was a bit more sensible there, since otherwise, because a barrel change inside a tank is not really practical. So the MG-34s and tanks also had a big, thicker barrel shroud or something like that. So I'm sure they did no heat so easily as well. But there you go, the MG-34 crews active. Bit too exposed, and there you go, full frontal assault here. Managed to pull away and actually killed one of the MG-34s, which is also low in health. Falcon gets an MG-34 operating there as well, and you could see another go down. Oh, run, Dieter, run! Rather close there, Pumas forced back as well. We are seeing a Jackson on the way. I think again a show might have worked better, but there we go. Still, there's an option here for actually securing an MG-34 and turning against the Germans. In fact, several MG-34 soon. Oh, he did not make it, but again, there we go. MG-34 secured by some crews. MG-34 held up, though. Ambulance, I think, can move up here to support the troops at the front, heal them and enforce. Forced away there by another MG-34. The MG-34s are quite well used here by him. And Orbital Darden arriving too now to sort of further increase the pressure. They're still rather lacking enough to sort of more seriously put a dent into the Pumas. But there you go, an MG-34 providing counter pressure versus USA.
Tank destroyer is ready for orders.
Troops reinforcing. Defensive posture providing further suppression. There you go, the infantry's forced away there. And the major here gets caught on quite a few bullets. But there you go, Jackson arrived. Jackson arrived.
God damn it! Keep your weight up! Too close! Heads up! Enemy infantry in force! Alright,
No support for this left flank as it encounters a Puma. And still no further upgrades for these rifles despite having sufficient munitions for it, I would say. There we go, nice hit, but likely the Puma will escape again. A bit of smoke, that's usually for the Fallschirmjäger. Close cigar there. Close but no cigar there for the Jackson though. But the Fallschirmjäger themselves might go down. Oh, looks like they managed it. More infantry moving up here to sort of slow down Kyoma's advance. Again, the mobile reserve has arrived to strike down the enemy assault and drown it in bullets. But at the same time, the centre is very open. His strategy is beginning to see more and more flaws. Now note, a lot of the infantry, a lot of the units that currently are available to Kyoma, a lot of them are in a rather poor state one way or the other. A further frontline ambulance sort of healing in force might prove to be inevitably needed in the longer run. Another smoke there, forcing that MG-34 back. He could also consider recruiting this one. Captain also needs to pull back. So again, I think the Captain's one is greater assets there versus the Pumas if used correctly with those bazookas. Jackson moving up.
We're losing a capture point.
Oh no, he's moving forward, units again, not fully reinforced. He seems to have a slightly bad habit with that. But again, going for the centre, again, I would say anti-tank guns could stand to be a bit too more forward. He does feel to be a bit too defensive at times with his posture, which does give the German player more time to sort of also manoeuvre in case he wants to get on the offensive. And also push him away from, say, the centre victory point. There you go, another MG-34, which you could consider recruiting. So you've got the crews, which could be utilised in that sense. Lieutenant here trying to deal with a quick grenade. Oh, there we go. No, he decides against it and stops. Apparently the ability got bugged. Oh well. Obviously I'm moving from the north there. Lieutenant still needs to fall back. And still needs to consider getting a Browning light machine gun up to help him. A bazooka would still be nice as well. Or a Sherman, or even for that matter an M8 Scott. I mean there are quite a few options here.
Armor here.
Looks like he's finally moving the ambulance up to the front. He's sending it forward in retreat point here as well. Going to secure the other MG-34. Good, good.
Good to go.
His forces are some slightly larger here in some regards. More orbital Dardan arriving. And looks like he's very much saving up for the King Tiger now. Very much.
Send your orders. Ready. Ready. Send orders. Listen up. You got your orders.
If only he could move forwards a bit more aggressively, I think he could sort of do some serious harm. Getting a second Jackson up. That's definitely going to put a stop alongside those two anti-tank guns to any armour or vehicles.
Get ready, guys.
And that's even going to make things difficult for a King Tiger.
Troops are good to go. Back to full strength.
But he does still feel rather defensive at the moment. He could stand to be slightly more aggressive.
Crowds are sniffing around our asses.
Ever so slightly, ever so lightly. Instead, nothing's happening. Also using Supervise here to actually speed up the production of the Jackson. Only slight problem here is he's at full pop cap. So he might as well use move on the captain there, and he realises. Now sneaking up forces here, though he's all going to be encountering a large force. So he's actually only sneaking in a very small force actually versus a much larger force. Of course he's not quite aware of this, but still. Need to be careful about sending in forces piecemeal. There we go. Puma's arriving. There you go, nice hit. Geballte Ladung off. Puma forced away. He could move into Jackson actually now to hunt it down and knock it out, but he seems to actually be holding back here. And that could allow him to escape with this armoured car once more, because Ozzy's actually got an golden opportunity here. Because if he's trying to go and catch it on the way back, it might pop smoke in the meanwhile. On the other hand here, if he's going to force it, he might force it to pop smoke early and that's also corrupt the retreat. The question is, will he move in there and try to hunt down the Puma? Because right now there's a golden opportunity to get that heavy armoured car out of the way. The Puma Schwerer Panzerspielwagen, one of the, well, essentially 3 variants of the 234 armoured car. Others being with a 75mm cannon, though note it was actually an unfixed structure without a turret, and also a Pack 40 more or less in the same vein. In fact, the Puma was put out of commission in favour of those 2 variants in the later stages of the war. There we go, second Jackson arrived. And there we go, the Puma was allowed to escape. I think that was a bit of a mistake, to be honest. Also right now his posture is a bit more of an awkward one. He's sort of trying to hold rather peculiar set of front lines at the same time as sort of pushing up here. Oh, got the MG-34 here. Moving forwards. If he makes a push here for the fuel point, he might be able to pull off there. Go, we are seeing the King Tigers on the way. Königstiger on the way. Need to get moving, need to get moving. Jackson moving up here. Need to be careful though, need to be careful. Situation could very quickly get ugly. He's rather getting overextended in many regards. There you go, Panther Strike, and the Jackson's already heavily damaged. Needs to pull back. Get out of there, John. There you go, Puma's advancing. Oh, Jackson pointing in the wrong direction. It's a bit of a cluster. And there we go. Jackson went down, ambushed there. He was a bit uncautious there with his movements. Not coming again. He's not getting the anti-tankers up not far enough. He's, again, the posture is not really good. He made an aggressive move, but he did not cover it sufficiently. And which you really need to do when they're dealing with Pumas. Instead, he gave them a sufficient room to maneuver, and again, rather made some wrong moves here in the center of the woods, which is not really good maneuvering country. And that rather cost him 2 Jacksons. And that could actually prove to be catastrophic. In particular, he didn't get the Pumas either. And now his force are extremely extended. He lost forces here as well by a nice counterattack from the Germans on the right flank. Orbital down, and these are veterans at 4-2. This is quickly getting very ugly for Kyoma, who's now rapidly losing control of the map, as he's trying to play off too many things at the same time and apparently can't decide quite what to commit for in terms of strategy. And there you go, the Königstiger has arrived. Dispatched by Schwerer Panzerabteilung, crossing his way through trucks and whatnot. Troops pinned down there, Fallschirmjägers, MG-34 holding things up. Smoke, they're going in, Captain moving up. A heroic move there by the good Captain Jack.
Capture point is under attack.
Captain moving in to try and deal here with the Fallschirmjäger. Need to be careful, they are veterans. There you go, though, gets 1 kill. And there you go, King Tiger charging forward. Anti-tank gun still not ready, sort of fully. He could power out some armor-piercing rounds. Armor-piercing rounds, there you go. Fallschirmjäger could get dead. Somehow maybe win there. Nope, gets away. King Tiger will take a bit of damage there from the anti-tank gun. Oh, a close escape there, but already Kyoma has been further and further pressured. Now the advantage might be in the Germans' hands. Right here again after that bit of a disaster with those 2 Jacksons. Again, he's much too, I think, hung up on, you know, sitting back too far here, which is overall actually ensuring he can't really control the rest of the map very well, yet he still wants to go up there. And can't even cover the center victory point very well either, so he's in a very awkward defensive position. And so overall allowing the Germans to sort of strike much more easily at leisure around their other units when he finally does venture out. Because the large part of his forces can't support the rest of them. Which is generally something you'll want to avoid. Ravnia getting absolutely slaughtered! Chaser! No, on the Fox, we might suffer a small loss there, and we go. King Tiger getting ready for the fight again. Kyoma bleeding out heavily. He might just consider just getting another anti-tank gun now. Again, lots of MG-34 setting up here. 1 closing in on Veteran 4. Not bad. Finally moving them forwards, though again he could do with both in take aim mode. Again, it increases also the range, not just the line of sight. And having more line of sight. There you go again, the Puma striking. And again, orbital down catching there. So again, you know, he's now basically splitting up his forces further piecemeal, which is only making it easier here for USA to strike them down 1 by 1. He's basically gone into patient hunter mode. Playing much more at his leisure now with the units here. There you go, King Tiger moving forwards. Need to be careful. Armor piercing rounds, armor piercing rounds. There we go. Fallschirmjäger's flanking in, need to cover that. Armor piercing rounds as well here. Go, both armor piercing rounds, so that's really doing a lot of damage to the King Tiger. Engine damage as well, anti-tank rocket, we might be able to get it. Getting it out of there. Close, oh so close. If only he had this on take aim again, you know, take aim. But instead, the King Tiger gets away with a sliver of health, just a sliver of health. So right there, again, a small tactical mistake there, giving another advantage here to USA. MG34 cleared out, barely holding up things here, but still. Veteran 4 Faltemiga. A Veteran 4 MG34. I think that's the first time I've seen one, to be honest. Orbs on here getting plastered, but still the Riven as well. And there you go. Veteran 5 Faltemiga, 28 kills. Absolute killers here. Laying down a murder's volley, slaying anyone daring to venture into their line of fire. Bad news there for Kyoma. I actually think it's time to go over to USA again, actually, if it's late about that. Sorry. My pardon. Sometimes I do get a bit caught up in the action there. Still, he's rather low in units, but still, he's managing much better pressure. Overall. Because again, whatever happens, Kyoma is much more happy just giving up a lot more territory, which again allows USA to get a lot more mobile around the map. Also striking where he wants. I mean, he's got 2 Veteran 3 anti-tank guns, something that is very potent, but he's not really using them to their full capacity. That and the lack of bazookas is not really helping out. There you go, the King Tiger is ready for another push, though again, we have seen here the 2 anti-tank guns, they're firing those armor-piercing rounds going to do a lot of damage if you're forcing up, but Faltemiga sorting that out in a very violent manner. Oh, looks like, oh, there we go again, he's spreading out a bit too much. There you go, Ripen wiped out. Puma moving up there, Veteran 2, which does make it more accurate and lethal, but the King Tiger is aiding as well. And there we go, MG34 crew tot nicht mehr. Moving up here a bit as well, but again spreading out further and further. He's leaving out more units out in the open again, which overall again allows USA to strike at them more and more at his leisure. And wipe them out much more easily because they've got nothing covering them. In particular in terms of anti-tank, and that's really also one of the main reasons to the sort of extent all of the anti-tank has essentially been focused here at the rear of the center rather than up there close to the front line units, and that's not really how you really use your anti-tank guns the best. They perform better when they're actually covering your front line units, not when they're all the way back.
Get that in there! Ready to deploy!
Crewing an MG34 here. He'd probably be better off, instead of holding it there, actually maybe getting it up here to sort of cover that small approach again, which could have at least sort of allowed to start an infantry assault, but that's too late now as well. Right squad here, 2 orbitals down by way, and a Puma. And there you go, Det Rifleman rounding down. Captain Force away as well. He could easily pick that up and become a lot more lethal. And there we go, MG crew cleared out by the orbital line, both now the Veteran 2. There you go, King Tiger moving forward. Anti-tank a bit too late and realising what's going on, pulling back here. Getting assaulted from every side. The things are getting heated up. The pocket is collapsing, if you will. Looks like a Falcon is about to go down there. Anti-tank guns pummeling away at the King Tiger. There again, switching over to down-piercing rounds for sort of better performance. But there you go, the infantry sorting out the rest. The infantry in this case really being the true heroes of this fight. In particular, those Falcon with 47 kills. 47 kills. And the orbitals are down with quite a handful as well. So there we go in the end. 260 kills, almost 1/4 of them from the Fallschirmjäger. And almost another 4th there from these 2 Obersoldaten. That MG34 here also do well, but they were all a very sort of different game, a very interesting match here between the 2. Sort of strong early game there from USA, but then sort of faltered in the mid game. Kyoma got stronger, but then Kyoma made some strategic, you know, odd decisions to a certain extent, which rather allowed USA to get back in the fight to pressure him and sort of take out units here and there at a much greater leisure and also at a much greater cost. because again, you know, he instantly sort of wiping out entire units without suffering minimal losses himself, which again made things easier for him, slowly pushing back and then finally one great big push. But I mean, very interesting to sort of go for that heavy. The MG-34s really did his best to stall, but again, the smoke grenades and sort of units flanking up. I mean, Kyoma was excellent on the flanks, excellent. The problem was he got a bit too confident, didn't sort of further develop his flanking tactics once USA began reacting in a more prompt and serious manner, striking down those units much more seriously. And those Pumas several times got a bit lucky, but also to an extent because Kyoma never really sort of got serious about it. And again, there was one here which he could have knocked out had he gotten a bit bold, but he never did. And that was sort of to some extent the difference between the two. Kyoma was to a large extent playing a lot more safely, whereas there was a lot more boldness and guile here between USA's actions, a lot more aggressiveness, sort of a bit more roll of the dice. But overall, again, you know, if you do it sort of sufficiently properly, I mean, you can pull off some fun things, and that's overall what he did. And that way he sort of came back. Also again, you know, the MG with sort of defensive reserve tactics sort of pushed back his opponent wherever he attacked, and again that went also all right to some extent. He sort of held out nicely. There was only when, you know, Kyoma really attacked, pulling off a decent assault there, pushing him back, taking a lot of damage, knocking things up, but again, you know, he never quite followed up, and he really should have pushed up here more aggressively, and he should have had those anti-tank guns in a much more forward position. I really think that was one of his greater mistakes. He was really reserved in using those anti-tank guns. Basically only came down sort of when it was absolutely only necessary, at which point it was already too late. He'd already suffered heavy losses, and the Pumas could easily have been knocked out, or even the King Tiger. He certainly should also been using take aim on both of them. Also, I think, again, bazookas would have benefited him quite as well. Leaving some anti-tank mines sort of make things harder for the Puma. That's all it. Again, you know, aggressive play here. It was a bit close here for Hussein. Again, had Kyoma done those things, I mean, he would have been in a lot more trouble. I mean, it was a bit of a bold maneuver here, going for the King Tiger to a certain extent. It worked there thanks to the strategy he was employing. But again, had those Pumas gone down, his strategies were going down the drain. So, I mean, to a certain extent, you know, because then there'd be even less anti-tank, and then, of course, Sherman could have rolled everything up. In fact, I think a Sherman or two could have rolled everything up. So that, of course, is another discussion. And he might have been forced to go for a Panther, then, of course, things are slightly change up. So it's a bit of a risky strategy, but again, in this case, because Kyoma began getting a bit defensive, they're a bit timid in the end, it rather allowed him to work out. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. Or, you know, donate to the Propagandacast. There's a link in the description of that via PayPal, since every dollar helps me. If not, you know, fair enough, but send it in on a replay. Though if you do provide a link to where you're on the leaderboards, I'm getting way too many emails sent in with replays, barely any description, by the way, and certainly not a link there, which overall rather means it goes to the bottom of my list, where, you know, if I'm absolutely desperate, I might have a look there, because again, it's going to be too much of a bother. It's basically sorting through a lot of things where people, you know, don't really make anything. And again, if I get 20 replays, the ones that actually tell me what I want to know are a lot more likely to be the ones I actually take a look at, you know. So keep that in mind. Telling me what I want to know is to your benefit as well. Otherwise, you know, feedback in the comments as always is appreciated. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.